I'm Tracy Baxter with today's Record Newswatch. An investigation is underway in Port Jervis where one person is dead and another injured in a fire that gutted the interior of a home at number 8 Mountain Avenue. Firemen quickly extinguished the blaze late this morning, but one person discovered inside had died and another victim was found outside with severe burns. Port Jervis Police Chief William Warden provided some preliminary details.
This time, police officers and emergency service responders from the Port Jervis Fire Department and the Port Jervis Ambulance Corps, as well as Port Jervis police officers, responded to a working structure fire located at 8 Mountain Avenue here in Port Jervis. It was about 11 o'clock a.m. this date. They located a male subject outside the residence on the Hudson Street side who was presenting some injuries from burns. That individual was immediately transported to Bon Secours Hospital for emergency treatment. Subsequently, the firefighters were able to knock down the fire, and when they were conducting a search of the building, we located a victim who is deceased at this time. So we are awaiting a search warrant to enter the residence to conduct a crime scene investigation at this point.
The identities of the two victims were not immediately released. No word on the cause of the fire. Police were treating the scene as a potential crime scene and were awaiting a search warrant to enter the house and continue their investigation. Now keep checking back here at Record Online for updated information on the fatal fire in Port Jervis. We hope you enjoyed those milder temperatures this past weekend because we'll be waking up to a wintry mess tomorrow morning. The National Weather Service has issued a winter weather advisory for the region beginning at around midnight tonight and stretching into the early part of Wednesday afternoon. Expect to see a few inches of snow accumulation before changeover to sleet and then freezing rain. Further details coming up in the forecast in a few minutes. In Orange County, State Police say a store in the town of Wallkill was robbed at gunpoint late last night. It happened at the Exotic Video and Gift Store on Route 211 shortly after 11 p.m. Investigators say that's when two men dressed in black and wearing black ski masks walked through a back door, pulled a handgun, forced the manager to lie on the floor, and stole an undetermined amount of cash, plus the manager's iPhone. State Assembly was poised today to do what the state Senate did last night, pass a gun control law considered to be the toughest in the nation and the first since the Newtown school massacre. The measure calls for a tougher assault weapons ban and restrictions on ammunition and the sale of guns. The Senate passed the measure despite the lack of support from the region's two Republican senators. Both Bill Larkin and John Bonasek voted against the measure, calling it too restrictive on law-abiding gun owners and something their constituents don't favor. The New York gun control measures have many state residents heading south of the border to Pennsylvania to obtain concealed gun carry permits. Pike County Sheriff Philip Buki says his department has been swamped with 50 to 100 permit requests being processed each week. If you have an unrestricted carry permit in the state where you live, you can get a concealed carry permit in Pennsylvania. The gun control debate took center stage in the village of Ellenville again last night as Mayor Jeff Kaplan presented a series of gun safety recommendations that he'd like to see get consideration on the county, state, and federal levels. The resolutions passed by the village board included an increase in funding for mental health treatment and school resource officers, and an increase in penalties for illegal possession of an unloaded firearm. But the mayor met resistance from members of the audience who oppose a ban on assault weapons and certain high-capacity ammunition magazines. Many said the recommendations, if passed, would punish law-abiding gun owners and were too vague and too restrictive. Gosford Lebhart remains in Orange County Jail on $500,000 cash bail or $1 million bond. This after an Orange County court judge denied a bail reduction request filed by his lawyer. The 26-year-old City of Newburgh man created a tense scene in Newburgh back on December 5th when he held police at bay during a 10-hour standoff before he bolted from a relative's house on Liberty Street and was then arrested while holding a gun. Lebhart had been free on $75,000 bail after being charged with attempted murder for a drive-by shooting incident in September. but Lebhart failed to show for his arraignment, setting up the standoff with police. And Port Jervis City Police Detective Michael Warden is doing more these days than investigating current criminal activity. This past Sunday, Warden was in Chester speaking to members of the local historical society about his research into the Chester area murder of Richard Jennings back in 1818, considered the first murder-for-hire case in New York State. It ended with a hanging that attracted a crowd of 20,000 people near where Goshen's Burke Catholic High School now stands. Detective Warden's research will be part of a book he plans to self-publish, and the facts he's unearthed about the Jennings murder case and information about 5 old true crime cases from our area will be included in his book. As mentioned earlier, we will wake up to some nasty weather tomorrow morning. Precipitation is expected to begin as snow by around midnight tonight. The snow will change over to a wintry mix of precipitation Wednesday morning. Some parts of the region could get 2 to 4 inches of snow before the changeover, with precipitation due to end by afternoon. Temperatures will top out in the upper 30s tomorrow. Better weather ahead on Thursday, with the highs in the low to mid 40s under a partly sunny sky. Make Record Online your source for the latest news and weather information, and get a wrap-up of all the day's events in tomorrow's Times-Herald Record. For Record Newswatch, I'm Tracy Baxter.